Yes.
No.
Me
Me too.
But I've got a lot of tests.
July. Are you giving it 3 minutes or 5 minutes? So they're changing it back to 5 minutes. I thought it was just a couple of minutes. But I don't know.
Just had lost it.
There's Jason.
Oh,
Jason,
Say.
I got it.
Okay. The intersection of Blue and Highway 15.
Good evening and welcome to. Good evening and welcome to the City of Oxford Commissioners Board meeting at 7 p.m. Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. Reminder, please silence your phone and while you're here in the meeting. If we go to a roll call now. Commissioner Vellis.
Present.
Commissioner Lumpkins.
Present.
Commissioner Brooks.
Present.
Commissioner McCray.
Not here.
He's not here. He's on. City Attorney.
Here.
City Manager.
Here.
Commissioner Tovey.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bridges.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, he said he would not be here due to the death in his family.
Right. Commissioner McCray is not here due to personal reasons, death in the family. At this time, we'll consider adjustment to and approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any adjustments?
Well, you have to do the public.
Okay, I'm fine. Mayor Pro Tem, can you please lead us in prayer today?
for all of you who are so inclined, will you bear with me for a moment of prayer? All wise and kind Father, we humbly bow to say thank you. Lord, thank you for the beauty and the blessings of this day. Lord, thank you for allowing us to assemble safely. Now we come before you, God, not as one, but as all, to do the work, the ideas, and the visions for the city of Oxford, where we all reside and where we all love. Watch over us, take care of us, and guide us so that we will all understand it's not about me, but it's about all of us. Bless us and watch over us. These and all our prayers we pray. In your son, Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. At this time, Mayor Pro Tem will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please stand and face the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this time, we will consider adjustment to and approval of tonight's agenda. Are there any adjustments? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No adjustment. To provide for highest standards of behavior and transparency in governance, the Board of Commissioners has approved a code of ethics to establish guidelines for ethical standards for board members and to provide guidance in determining appropriate conduct. Among those board members shall avoid impropriety in exercising their official duties and conduct, the affairs of the board openly and publicly. If any board member knows as a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict, please state so at this time. No conflicts, let the record note, no conflicts of interest. Tonight, we are going to start out with a delegation by Mr. Joe Garziano, Senior Public Risk Consultant, presenting a risk assessment finding for the Oxford Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Board. My name is Chet Epler, and I'm a Public Safety Risk Management Consultant for the North Carolina League of Municipalities. Thank you for this time in recognizing your police department, Oxford Police Department, for completing the North Carolina League's Law Enforcement Risk Management Risk Review. The risk review involves a comprehensive agency review of the high-risk policies, operations, and practices to include a detailed on-site agency administrative and operation review, including equipment, facility inspections, officer interviews, observations of operations, to validate practices that align with policy and in turn with the industry's best practice. We specifically look at those high liability areas within a department that consist of police vehicle operation, response to active resistance, evidence processing, employment practices, procedures, and training, and in addition to many more categories. This review is supported by the North Carolina Police Chiefs Association, and I'm proud to report this evening that Oxford Police Department has successfully completed the law enforcement risk review process. The Chief Ford, and the department staff prioritized this initiative and made this process a department priority. The department was proactive and involved in the process. We want to personally thank Chief Ford and the staff for their leadership and willingness to participate in this very important initiative. They were very open and transparent during the process. The officers that the league worked with observed and demonstrated high levels of commitment to your community and to the best practices that enhance the police profession and to politely impact your community and community relationships. And one thing to specifically note is that Oxford is one of less than probably a half a dozen cities that this is their third review of approval in the state of North Carolina. So it's to be commended that Oxford took the lead early on to do a risk review 2 other reviews ago, and these last for 3 years at a time. So I'd like to ask Chief Ford to come forward for a presentation.
Wants to take a picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the mayor's going to come join us.
Make sure the light's good for y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief. It's good to see you.
It's often nice to have your police department recognized in these trying days that we have with so many issues where the police departments are accused of a lot of things while doing their duties. So I welcome that award from our police department. City of Oxford Public Comment Guidelines. The mayor and board welcome and encourage citizens to attend city board meetings and to offer comments on matters of concern to them. Citizens are requested to review the following public comment guidelines prior to addressing the board. Citizens are requested to limit their comments to 5 minutes. Comments should be presented in a civil manner and be non-personal in nature, fact-based, and issue-oriented. Except for the public hearing comment period, citizens must speak for themselves during the public comment periods. Citizens may not yield their time to another person. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the appropriate city official, board, committee, or agency, and may, if in order, be scheduled for future meeting agenda. Individual personal issues are confidential by law and will not be discussed. Complaints related to specific individuals are to be directed to the city manager. Comments involving matters related to an ongoing police investigative matter and or the court system will not be permitted. Citizens should not expect specific board action, deliberation, and or comment on subject matter brought up during the public comment section, unless and until that's being scheduled as a business item on the future meeting agenda. At this time, we're going to open up public comments, and we have the first up is Mrs. Anna Hossman from 306 Broad Street. And the topic of discussion is push carts.
Hello again. I wanted to come up and say thank you. I have, and I know my business partner, Ray Williams, has also stood before you with concerns regarding push carts in the ordinance. And I want to say publicly and on record, thank you so much to Pat Fields and Seth Lumpkins and Curtis McCrae for taking the time, and also Brent Taylor for taking the time to sit with me and hear out my concerns. I wanted to make sure that I said that I felt very heard and that my concerns were taken seriously. And then I also wanted to say that I look forward to the possibility of speaking with you all next month. And just as a reminder that we have open seats on the planning board, and given the current environment on that board, I would urge you to really think long and hard about bringing some new life to the board, people that are excited to read what's going before you guys, because they are making recommendations that help guide the decisions that you make. And when I hear things like planning board members didn't take the time to read things that come before them, it's concerning to me. So I don't know how you weed that out in an interview, but I wanted to say thank you for the time you've given, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hossman. I call upon Mr. Eddie Reed, 230 Lanier Street. The issue is a stop sign.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone, Mr. Mayor, rest of the commission. And it's me again about that stop sign down there on Lanier Street. No one is stopping for it. And they had put some caution lights that I guess for people to see, but they stopped working 2 or 3 weeks after they put them there. Evidently, nobody is monitoring the lights, and there's never no police present there, never ever any police present. That's why people keep running it. If the police would have a present there sometime and give some tickets out, I believe that so many people wouldn't run it, because nobody stopped. And when they call themselves stop, it's a rolling stop. They never complete stop. The road keep going. And if this is all they gonna do, there wasn't any need to put the sign there. And we would like something to be done, do in the light that the caution light that they put there, it has no way to stay charged. It don't no current going to it, so it can't stay charged. It's battery operated, so it'll stay charged up for about a month, then it's dead. And we wish that something would be done. They would put a police presence there for the monitor for a while, or maybe come up with another solution, because the stop sign is not working. And that's all I have to say, and I thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next is Mr. Jason Duncan, 108 Rectory Street. And subject is Grandball Park project.
Good evening to the mayor, to the commission, and all the constituents who have gathered here tonight for this meeting. Before we get into the real issue at hand, I want to highlight the fact that on 2 separate occasions, we were told that there would be public comments, May 13th and June the 2nd. Those meetings did not come into fruition. We were advised of those meetings by city officials, and people showed up both times to participate. This is a disservice to our city, and better information and implementation is needed going forward. What will be done to rectify this in the future? My name is Jason Duncan. I'm a resident at 108 Rectory Street, Apartment D, here in Oxford. A member and organizing fellow of Down Home, North Carolina, here in Granville County, a patron and liaison for the community, and most importantly, I'm a proud Oxfordian. All of these things tie together when it comes to the love and passion I have for my city. This spring, we started a campaign to bring awareness to the Graball community about solar funding and about our plans to bring a park to the area. Many people were interested in the solar funds, but the majority of the community was hyped and supported the park piece, as the need for recreation is a major issue for that part of town. After canvassing the neighborhood and having our kickoff and boots on the ground events, the momentum continued to grow, and people continue to express their support and their need for the park. As we continue to do research, it came to light that a recreation master plan was set in place here in our city back in 2006. I was 21 years old then. In that plan, it stated there would be a park within 5 miles of every established community here in the city. It's 2025, and I'm 40, and we still are nowhere near getting this task accomplished. 19 years of a broken promise is enough for somebody to finally want to get this right. Although this panel may not consist of the people who implemented that plan, we can't look over the neglect of no one picking up the baton to take that across the finish line. We moved in a somewhat good direction when we revitalized Granville Street Park, but even that came from the efforts of this organization and those Granville Street citizens being present to directly address that issue. Guess what? That same organization and the people of the Graball community are here to do the same thing. We're not here to ask you to hold your end of the bargain. We're demanding you to do what you said you would do from this, and we want you to start with this neighborhood. Graball holds so much history. Our commissioner, Skyler Brooks, can attest to that because it doesn't get more Graball than that man. Blood Inside My Name depicts the story of Henry Dickey Merrill, a young man senselessly murdered after coming home from serving his country. Rajwan Winston was just being a kid and was struck and later died in almost the exact same area that Dickey was slain. So much negativity has shrouded this area, past and present. Let's do something to change that stigma. What better way to do that than to bring something to the community that will galvanize all people? We can't tell you how to do your job, but we can tell you that you need to follow through with the things that you propose. Give these people what they deserve. If you stand behind and believe in this, on the count of 3, I want you to say, give us our part. 1, 2, 3.
Give us our part.
Thank you. And now what are you going to do? Just want to thank you for your time and willingness to listen.
Thank you very much, sir. So, on the Lanier Street issue, we've looked at it several times, and I'm just wondering, should we send that back down to the Public Safety Committee to have that looked at again? Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we ought to look into a solar light.
Yes, sir. That's exactly brought up in the Public Safety. You need a motion?
Do we need a motion on that, Cindy? Or
I think it's
consensus?
Consensus. Do I have a consensus on sending the Lanier Street issue back to the Public Safety Committee?
Raise your hand.
All in
Raise your
favor?
hand.
Okay, good. So be it. The other subject on Graball Park, I think that goes to Parks and Recs, and we'll send that. We want a consensus on that also.
Mhm.
Send the
Raise your hand.
consensus.
Are you? No.
Yes.
Gotcha. Oh, sorry.
At this time, we hold a public hearing on rezoning request from Carolyn Nomlin of 413 Nomlin Road, consisting of 55 plus acres from industrial park district to residential and agriculture. At this time, public hearing is open. Citizens may only speak in public hearing items at this time. Citizens wishing to address the board should just register their name and address with the city clerk prior to meeting. Please review the citizen comment guidelines that the city clerk provides. We hold a public hearing on rezoning request from Carolyn Nomlin, 413 Nomlin Road, consisting of 55 plus acres, from industrial park district to residential and agriculture. Applicant wishes to have the family farm rezoned from industrial park district to residential. Item 5.1, consider rezoning 55 acres from industrial park district to residential agriculture. Mrs. Nomlin is requesting that 55 acres farm be rezoned residential agriculture. The planning board recommend that the request be approved. At this time, I'll open it up for it. Is there anyone who would like to make a statement on this rezoning? Okay. Anyone on the board would like to?
She's not here, she was.
Okay, so okay. Can I have a motion?
Close the public hearing first.
Yeah, close.
Okay. Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Motion carries. 5.2, considered annexation petition by David Chapman to annex 28 plus acres referred to as Torndale Villas by directing the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the request. Staff recommends directing the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency. Consider calling for a public hearing at the July 15 board meeting to hear citizen input on a request by Anna Hossman for a text amendment for the mobile food vendor requirements to include push carts. I skipped one.
Yeah, you got the bottom two.
Let's go back to item 5.2.
Yeah.
Consider annexation petition from Mr. Chapman. Do I have a motion? Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Motion carries.
They have to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we consider calling for public hearing at the July 15 board meeting to hear citizens' input on a request by Hannah Osman for text amendment to the mobile food vendor requirements to include push carts. Planning board recommendation is that the amendment as presented be denied. However, a public hearing is needed before a vote to change the UDO. 5.4. Do I have a motion on this?
Good,
Wait a minute, we're 3 or 4?
We're on three.
We're on 3.
5.3.
A
This is
motion.
calling for the public hearing of
I'll
the,
make a motion that we have a public.
Public hearing, second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll have a public hearing on the request by Mrs. Hannah Osman. Item 5.4, consider petition for non-contiguous annexation for 527 acres referred to as Perry Farm, by directing the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency of requests for property located off Perry Road, Salem Road, and Horner Siding Road. The owners are petitioning for annexation in order to provide service for residential mixed-use development. Staff recommends directing the city clerk to invest the sufficiency of the requests. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.5, a separate petition for annexation of 409 acres from John Hunt, and direct the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition. The owners of the property receive approval of a conditional rezoning for residential mixed-use development located off Landis, Tab Creek, and Salem Road. Staff recommends directing the city clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition for an annexation. Have a motion.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. City clerk is directed to sufficiency on these both Perry Farm and Unlandis project. Item 5.6, consider approving a blow bid for neighborhood revitalization CDBG program. In 2023, the city of Oxford was awarded $950,000 in CDBG fund from the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division for the rehabilitation of owner-occupied single-family homes within the city. The costs of rehabilitation are averaging between $150,000 and $175,000 per square foot per residence. All funds are within the budget, and no local city funds or private homeowners funds are required. Staff recommends that the low bid be approved and presented for the following addresses and amounts: 117 Franklin Street, $177,692. 204 Hem Street, $177,638. 227 New College Street, $177,720. And 407 West Front Street, $177,773. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider approving the 2025 road closure ordinance for DOT. The DOT requires an ordinance to close state-owned roads for events. Currently, there are three events take place on state road, and this is basically for the fall season. The first item is hot sauce contest and festival. The second item is the Veterans Day Parade. The third item will be Christmas Day Parade. Staff recommend approving the 2025 road closure ordinance for DOT. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.8, consider approving the FY 25-26 budget ordinance. Staff recommends approving the FY 25-26 budget ordinance.
Who's got it? Bring the budget presentation up, please.
We have a
Thank you.
motion on the
No,
approving.
you'll-
Not yet.
get you.
Not yet.
That's it.
while he's doing that, Mayor and Commissioners, just to kind of review where we are right now. So far, as far as the general fund, I've not been asked to make any changes, so we're progressing to that to our final adoption. The other thing that I've been asked to do is to examine our water rates as we try to cover approximately $225,000, and that's what these rate options will address. We'll start out just reminding people about what our rates currently are. And we're only talking about adjusting consumption rates. By the way, the base rates will still stay the same. So the consumption rates are inside the city is $8.03 for the first 4,000 gallons, $8.83 from 4,000 to 20,000, and then 20,000 plus $7.42 inside the city residents. And then outside the city, 0 to 4,000 is $12.85. 4,000 to 20,000 is $14.13, and 20,000 plus is $11.88. And then you see the sewer rates inside the city is $10.19, and outside the city is $16.30. And this is all per 1,000 gallons. So next slide. All right, so looked at 6 options, the three that were currently given to you before, and put it a little bit different form this time. I'm not going to read all this, but just highlight that in this particular scenario of that figure that I told you, the 225, these rate increases, businesses would pick up 70% of that, and the residential would pick up 30%. And you could see with the outside business, their rate of increase would be approximately 4%, 53 cents per 1,000 gallons on water, and 62 cents per 1,000 on sewer. Business inside would be roughly between 5 and 6% for both water and sewer. That would be 46 cents for water, 53 cents for sewer. Residential inside would be roughly 3%, 2.5 to 3%, and that's 20 cents on water and 23 cents on sewer. Residential outside, I just capped it at $1.50, which is basically almost 3 times what any of the other rates are. There's just so few outside residents. It does not impact the budget hardly at all. So we just capped it there because we need to have a rate for that. So you can see the combined totals, and like I said, 4% for business outside, roughly 5.5 for business inside, 250 residential inside, or 2.5 residential inside, and you can see per 1,000 what that equates to. Next one. All right, 85% business, 15% residential. So you see a little bit more on the outside business at roughly 4.5 to 5%. Business inside would be between 6 and 6.5%. And some of these percentages are a little bit higher because the amount that they're starting with is a little bit smaller. So that does kind of skew a little bit where there's more to it on the business with the outside. But you can see the actual dollar amount is certainly less. Residential inside between 1.5 and 2%, and residential outside stays the same. So again, that's per 1,000. So resident inside, you're looking at 23 cents per 1,000 on that. Next. All right, if you split it evenly, then it gets a little bit higher. 3% for outside business, 4% for both business inside and residents outside or inside, and then 8.5 for residential outside. And you can see the monetary changes again per 1,000. Next. All right, these are if you take out residential, and so this is what I was asked to look into that is different than from last time. Okay? So again, this is all business. So if we did a 70-30 split, you're looking at the outside percent change to be roughly 8% overall. And you can see the various tier changes. So for example, on the outside, the difference in tier 3 would be $1.50 per 1,000 gallons. In tier 2, $1, and also tier 1. So that's how you would read that. And then the outside difference would be 6%. Option 5 would be a 50-50. And so you'd see the outside would actually go down for outside business, outside the city at 5%, and inside would be 10%. And part of that reason is a lot of our outside users are very high water consumers. I mean, you look at Revlon, Baghdad, et cetera. Okay, so that and the business that's mostly inside are smaller, so that's why those percentages are going to be different and higher for inside when you're trying to split the cost evenly between the inside and outside. And then option 6, you're looking at roughly about 8% for outside city picking all that. And there would be a little bit of reduction in the budget to make that work. The reason those figures were chosen is really to try to keep it something that was somewhat reasonable and not too much too soon. Where does this put us in terms of other municipalities, in terms of residential rates? Next slide. Okay. As stated before, we are pretty much in the middle. When you take 3,000 gallons, which is roughly the average of most households, when you add the water and the sewer, including base rates, we're currently 74.58. Now that does not include sanitation. It does not include stormwater. It's just water and sanitation. And then when you look at the other options, the first 3 options, 2, we still stay in the same position. With 1 and 3, we drop a position. So we're in the middle, basically, is where we are. Not the lowest, not the highest. So from what I would recommend to you is that we need some feedback on which kind of rate structure you would like to look at. That's what we need as far as final adoption. I'd recommend sometime next week, Monday, Tuesday, or whatever day is convenient for you, that you have a final adoption of the budget. That would give us time to, next couple of days, to put it out there on online so people could see what the final numbers are going to be. Like I said, unless you tell me that you want us to cut the entire 225 out of the water sewer fund. And even then, I think those would be nickel and dime changes for the most part, but there's a couple of things that may get hit that would be substantial. You might lose a piece of equipment or a few AMI meters. But I'll go through that to make sure. Or if you did a split of like 70 business, 30 cuts, 30% would be roughly about $70,000, and most of those we could nickel and dime most line items. So it'd be some impact, but not substantial impact. So just need some direction there so we can put the final touches on it, and next week y'all can approve it and have it done.
Thank you.
Do we have a comparison to the industrial rates for the other cities?
Most cities like us don't have an industrial rate or a commercial rate. They have usage rates just like we do. The reason we kind of know that are what our businesses do, well, we pull the businesses out, and that's one of the things why it took so long. to get this to you is we had to build these models essentially from scratch. And you think, oh, it'd be, you just hit this and that, and boom, you'd be done. But no, it was very labor intensive work. Most of our business are the high water users, certainly not all, but especially the industrial side. Other cities are like that as well. I think there was maybe 1, 2 others that actually had an industrial or commercial rate. Most of them just did it on usage. And the one that I did remember was an incredibly high usage rate where it was like 100,000 gallons, and there was a reduction there. It was some real high number. So, but if you want to ask where we are, rates tier 2 and 3, from 4 to 20,000, we're going to be a little bit on the higher end, on the 20 plus, because we give a reduction on that. We're going to be on the lower end. So, and I'm sure probably at some point that was to help try to incentivize industry to come here. So the heavy water users got a little bit of a reduction. So that's where we would be ultimately.
So let's go back. We went through all this exercise because we wanted to show that the industries that were not paying as much as they're paying other cities. And then basically the citizens, I believe, was paying most of the load in the water rates for all the years. And we wanted to look at getting the industries up to the level where compared to the surrounding cities, I think that's what I'm wrong. Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at, getting the industries where they need to be, because to get them to come here, they got a lot of incentive in the past, but the incentive been going for 20, 25 years now.
I would say, as far as if you were to get the rate structure closer now, they do pay a lot because they use a lot. So, I mean, it's not like they don't pay anything, but if you want to get the rate closer, yeah, I can certainly see that.
I think what the mayor is saying, I think we all mentioned it before, was that these industries outside the city limits don't pay us any taxes, but they still use our water. And I don't think it's fair to raise the water rates for our citizens when we don't raise it for the businesses. And I think the businesses should take a substantial lead in that. Let our residents have the lowest possible, if at all, raising their water rates. I think it should be on the businesses. What I don't want to do it to such an extent is that we don't attract business.
I like 70-30.
I like that because it's like 1.5% raise.
Or are you talking 730 business to cuts?
Yeah.
Are you talking business to reduction in the budget, 70-30, or 70-30 business to residential?
I was thinking business residential.
Okay.
I think they've kind of gotten away for a while. And I just remember we increased water rates on citizens so that we could get grants, and of course our engineers not with us anymore, but I know I just recall us getting a lot of monies through grants because of that decision. But I'm reluctant to add to it against our citizens.
The reason we got the grants was because we had to. We were forced to get the grants, forced to raise our rates. I don't think that's not in play anymore, is it, at the moment?
But and just also to just clarify just a little bit, one of the reasons you had to do that because they weren't all grants. Some of that was loans.
Some of
And that
it
had to be
was
paid back.
interest,
So
yes.
that's one of the reasons why you had to do that.
Grants and loans, that's right. I think we should move next.
Mr. Lumpkins.
One quick question. I believe we've spoken about this before. I can't remember what institute it was, but they recommended a certain percentage for a change.
Yeah, Ralph Tillis is who and a lot of people use Ralph Tillis.
Yeah.
And they recommended a 3% across the board. Again, that's a little bit more convenient way to do that. What we did here is a little bit more deeper dive based on what feedback we were getting, that we wanted to do less on the residential and a little bit more on the business side.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a recommendation that you raise them, hopefully not, but it was a recommendation that you raise them 3% over a certain period of time. Or was it?
That's pretty much anywhere about 2 to 3% a year. Basically trying to keep up with inflation is what you're trying to do. And this was, and that was also the base rate included in that. And what we're able to do here is to not do the base rate. Also too, we also looked at cost already to try to keep that down somewhat as well.
Scenario where the residents do not get any increase in the industry and the Commerce handle it. I think that's what a lot of us are looking at, but I don't think we're really locked in right now on what we want to see.
I think we gotta have a meeting very soon for the budget. We have to pass the budget.
This is kind of what I'm hearing. I'd be happy to do this. I think I'm hearing one option at 70-30 business to residential, and maybe 70-30 business to making some reductions in the expense side. If we narrow it down to 2, I think you can do that in one meeting, and I can give you a list of what might be reduced if you would like to do that. Or if you want to, I could go back to the 100%. I mean, we can adjust the numbers how you like. I mean, you can do an 80-20, you can do a 90-10. I mean, you can do any of it. There's just so many you can do. So the closer we kind of know what you're wanting to do, it makes it easier to hit the mark.
70-30.
I think I'll let
Sweden is the
Go
best.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just thinking that the scenario option 2, the 70-30 is the best at the moment, all round with it, because that we won't have to cut other cuts in the budget, will we then?
Not
There
then,
won't be
no,
other
not
cuts.
that one. 'Cause
Not
that
on
would
that one.
cover.
There won't be any other cuts. If we do anything else, we've got to cut other items in the budget. So where are we going to cut?
I make a motion that we have the meeting sometime next week
Week.
to read this out
More detail.
in more detail.
Can I get a motion
I'm
to
making-
table?
That I would like to make a
Yeah.
motion that we table this tonight and schedule a follow-up.
A second. All in favor?
All right.
All right.
Any opposed? So we will set a meeting the 10th, Monday?
Well, you got to get the public
public
notice.
time.
You have to give the public notice of that.
Okay,
Mhm.
so,
I can do it anytime next week because I've got 48 hours to do it.
we'll set a date. Can we get together on a date, or we need to set a date now?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Monday would not be a good day for me. So
Okay.
if you could do any other day besides Monday.
Can we,
What's a good evening?
I'm gonna be out of town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
so let's go Friday. Can we
The
do Friday?
20th?
The
Friday,
20th.
The 20th?
yeah, most guys are off on Friday, the
Right.
working ones, and well, you're working man too, but you'll be out of town, you'll be back Thursday. So so we'll set the date for the 20th, if that's
If that's all
okay
right.
with everybody on the board.
Training room?
You got a time?
Well,
Time.
You need to be early.
well, my suggestion would be, I think you could get to a point where you just pick a rate, and I think you could adopt the budget at that point.
Right.
Okay.
If you're so inclined to do that. And then just for clarity purposes, are there any other options you want me to really explore other than those 2? Because that's what I'm hearing, unless I can explore any others you want, but that's kind of what I'm hearing. I just want to make sure that's.
Those 2.
Those 2.
Because the more options you give us or you expand it, the more confusing it's gonna become. and the more we'll have to back down and narrow it back down. So my suggestion is the two options here. We work with that.
Two options. And
Okay.
one of the options, you'll show what items will be affected if we decide that.
Yep.
And all means there's probably a couple items we can wait on for this year budget to make things work. So, yeah, I think that's
Okay,
good.
so I'll do those two. I'll have them ready for you for a week from Friday. And
Time?
What's good for you?
10 8 anytime.
I would say 12 o'clock would probably work for me.
Okay.
So I'll work for everyone?
So Friday at noon. So
Friday the
just to be
20th.
clear, we're gonna discuss the water rates and then possibly vote on the budget.
Impossible on the budget.
as far as the water rate presentation, I would expect that to take at the most 10 minutes. You're trying to juggle, I assume you're trying to juggle work. So,
Yeah, I can make it work.
And we'll get in touch with Commissioner McCray
McCray.
so that he can adjust his schedule.
Okay, all in favor? Right?
Aye.
All in favor? Any opposed? Carries. We'll meet next Friday at 12 noon to look at the water rates and possibly move on to the approving the ordinance budget. But we have to the 30th of June. That's official date that we have to get this done. Okay. Item 6, consent agenda. Consent items will be adopted with a single motion, a second, and a vote unless a request for removal from the consent agenda is heard from a council member. Approve the May 5th and May 13th minutes. Approve the budget amendment for June 2025. Have a motion,
To accept the consent agenda motion.
right?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Consent agenda approved. Before we go to adjournment, let's start, everyone make your comments. Commissioner Bellis.
I have nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Lumpkins,
Nothing.
Commissioner Brooks,
I don't know.
Commissioner Tobey.
I just want to thank the police department for getting that audit. It was probably an audit, you know. It was the third time I've done it, so congratulations on that. And someone did mention about the car cruise. Remember we used to do a downtown cruise with the old cars a few years ago?
Cruising.
I'd like to
Cruising.
bring that back.
It
I'd
was
like to
held at the
bring that
Gap.
back.
It was at the Gap
It
this
was
time.
at the Gap this
Yeah,
time.
well, what's wrong with bringing it back to Oxford? I just thought, let's explore it. Let's bring it back to Oxford.
It's a very nice event, and I think
It brings
that
people downtown
there was a
as well.
couple issues with getting it. I think it was over something very simple, like
Something
porta
silly.
potties and
Yeah.
crazy
something like
stuff.
that.
And
Fix
last year I made an attempt to get the guy to come back, but eventually it was
Sorry?
scheduled at the Gap.
All right, yeah, let's just try and get that back. It's just another event down. I love it,
The Mustang.
brings people downtown.
Okay,
That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Bridges.
I just wanted to mention something about the celebration we had for the employees and presentation of Employee of the Year that Mayor Pro Tem did. I think it's great when we spend time with our employees, because I know I don't personally meet or see the employees until we don't do something like that. Because I'm not really gonna go on their job sites. But I think it is a significant thing that we do as commissioners to sort of hang out with our city employees and to certainly congratulate them for the good work that they do. Because the fact of the matter is, if we get compliments from the community, it's usually because of what some city employee does and not so much what we do up here.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Well, Commissioner Bridges took it. I was looking at Melissa and wanted to say thank you, Melissa. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And from the days of when I worked for the state, it makes employees realize that you are part of a team. Everything that's done in Oxford is done through teamwork. And to Commissioner Toby,
That's me.
if they bring the cruising back,
Oh, man, yeah.
maybe Chief Cottrell and I will have the Mustang out there. To all our employees, thank you. Gratitude is not given enough. So to all of our employees, thank you. Whether you were there to eat or not, thank you. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to do the upcoming events.
Well, that's not it right there. I got some of them. We can get that.
Oh, okay.
First, I'd like to start off that this weekend, started Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the youth volleyball tournament had their championship games, and it was very well done. All the youth from the community and county participated. So it was very good. I think one employee down there that we had, which is a part-time employee, Mr. Larry Kozar, he runs that. He works with a passion down there in all youth events. So we need to really look at probably recognizing this gentleman. Along that line, we had a summer camp wrap up at the community center. There's a combination of St. Stephen, St. Cyprian's, I think one other church. And we had Mrs. Rogers there out in public. It was a very well done program. I think the Four Sisters, I can't remember the last name.
Just say the Eaton Sisters.
Eaton Sisters. They supervised that program. We had 42 kids going to the summer camp. And that's something we really need to look at for our community, because we don't have much activities for the youth around in Oxford. So we need to look at that ourselves in the city, maybe what we can do to get a summer camp program for the kids and help out with some of the community entities here to get these things going. Juneteenth is on the 4th, a Saturday. I don't have a program. I don't remember what time it is, but normally starts by 10 in the morning. Situation that we have gone to the county on, and I think one of our citizens here sent an email out, which is true, and I want to comment that. The homeless situation at the library and the surrounding area. I had to get the months ago. I had personally, and Chief Ford was working on this along, so also, and since it's a county property, we don't have much jurisdiction there. But the library itself was feeling the problem. The personnel will not say anything to the homeless guy, which I understand their situation. They don't want to be attacked or anything like that. But there's a problem. And you go down any time, especially early in the morning or in the late evening time, the gazebo out there by the library is where they do whatever they need to do out there. They can't find a restroom, they do it out there. And they just throw everything and it's a mess. They go in the library, they sleep outside the library. I would ask the city manager, can you reach out to county manager? Because I did it one time and they did some things, but we need them to get some more attention of that area down there. It needs to be attended. And and I'm gonna say something, maybe I get shot on this, but, food trucks. If you ever go down town on Sunday and Monday, it's desert, there's nothing down there. It'd be nice to have food trucks down there. A lot of cities does food truck rodeos. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, nobody, no business open downtown. The hub don't even open. And this is a city we trying to live in, so we may want to consider that and look at that part when we deal with the public hearing on that item. And
Just to piggyback on your comments about county and the homelessness and on county property, maybe that's something that our city manager and the county manager can work in conjunction with that situation. Because it is within the city, even though it is county property, sometimes brothers have to work together to get things done. So if the two entities are working together, we may have a greater impact of working something out for that situation.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me, Juneteenth is, the celebration is 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Hey, Juneteenth, 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And I think that's just, do I have anything else? No, I don't. So with that, I have a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I was just told just a few minutes ago by our attorney, we got some correspondence within the last couple of hours regarding a legal update that I think y'all need to have, so we got everybody here rather than trying to reconvene everybody. So if we could have a closed session for just a couple of minutes so we could update you, that would be very helpful.
I make a motion, we adjourn and go to closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Board adjourns to closed session. Thank you very much all for coming.
Who did the second on this?
Go on, David.
Hey, Mayor.